The story begins in Japan, where day after day, ordinary citizens were living in constant fear because of terrifying monsters that came from space. These monsters were known as kaijus. Humans had been conducting research for quite some time, developing new systems to fight these kaijus. And now, the Japanese government had formed a special team to stand against them. However, there was yet another dangerous kaiju that was causing widespread trouble. This one was invisible, completely unseen by the naked eye, and its name was Naranga. It was wreaking havoc wherever it went. The Japanese military discovered that while Naranga possessed the ability to vanish at will, it also grew stronger by absorbing electricity. In order to stop it, the government ordered the shutdown of all power grids in the city. But when Naranga realized it could no longer draw energy from electricity, it flew into a rage and destroyed the power grid entirely, then moved on in search of more electrical sources. Meanwhile, the military launched multiple missiles at Naranga, but it used its magical powers to obliterate those missiles in mid-air. At that point, the government began considering the idea of using a nuclear bomb on Naranga. But they knew such an attack would kill hundreds of thousands of innocent people for no reason at all. Then they thought, since electricity is Naranga's source of power, maybe they could keep the electricity shut down across the entire country until Naranga, finding nothing to feed on, gets frustrated and leaves on its own. But the Prime Minister refused to grant permission for that plan too. By now, everyone's hopes were crumbling. Soon, however, they spotted a UFO descending from the sky, heading swiftly toward Naranga's territory. At the same time, we see a special agent named Kami Naga, who is racing after a small child, trying to protect the child from Naranga's attack. Meanwhile, the military observed that a large robot emerged from the UFO, an entity that resembled a human in appearance, prompting them to name it the humanoid. When Naranga sensed danger from the humanoid, it unleashed a devastating 500,000-watt electrical blast. To everyone's astonishment, such a powerful attack had absolutely no effect on the humanoid. Realizing this, Naranga suddenly turned invisible and bolted from the scene. Then the humanoid raised its hand and made a certain gesture, releasing a massive plasma beam that shot straight at Naranga. Naranga was struck by it and was instantly reduced to ashes. Seeing that the humanoid had saved them from Naranga, the officers attempted to communicate with it. But right at that moment, the humanoid soared swiftly into the sky and disappeared. In any case, a few days later, a new member joined the scientific research team, a young woman named Asami. She met Captain Tamura and the rest of his group. That very day, Captain Tamura submitted his report to his superior regarding this visitor from space, the humanoid. Although the team still had no idea who he was or where he had come from, they had already named him Ultraman. Shortly thereafter, the team received news of another kaiju attacking the city. Everyone quickly prepared to confront it together. This particular monster was moving underground, causing violent earthquakes all around. The scientists discovered that the creature's body emitted extremely intense radiation, and if it emerged onto the surface and attacked, it would inflict massive harm on the general population. The special team decided to name this new kaiju Gabona. Now, everyone began searching for ways to destroy it without allowing its radiation to spread. To accomplish this, they needed to rely on machines capable of killing the monster below ground. Soon, 3 airplanes from the team reached that area and launched missiles at the kaiju, but to no avail. In fact, it only enraged the beast further. Within moments, Gabona burst out from underground, revealing its menacing form to everyone. Instead of a face, it had a colossal drill, which it used to tunnel rapidly through the earth. After seeing that, the special team resolved to head to the location in person to gather first-hand information about Gabona. But along the way, Kami Naga got separated from his group. He took off running through the forest and pulled a strange device out of his pocket. As soon as he pressed the button on that device, Ultraman appeared in front of everyone, leaving all the scientists around him completely stunned. Wasting no time, Ultraman soared straight toward Gabona. Meanwhile, the scientists were discussing among themselves that Ultraman should not use his plasma beam power against Gabona, because that would unleash unbelievably powerful radiation, potentially causing devastation throughout Japan. Over on the battlefield, Ultraman suddenly leapt into the air and somersaulted right onto Gabona, delivering such a tremendous blow that it knocked Gabona far into the distance. Furious, Gabona retaliated, using the might of its drill machine, attempting to injure Ultraman in every possible way. Yet Ultraman flung it aside with a single punch. Realizing its usual attacks were failing, Gabona used its radiation beam against Ultraman, but Ultraman formed a protective shield all around himself and managed to defend against it. However, he soon dispelled that shield, causing the entire radiation beam to be absorbed straight into his body. As a result, the red portions of Ultraman's body began turning green. Even after taking such a fearsome radiation blast, Ultraman slowly and steadily advanced toward Gabona. As soon as he was within striking distance, he punched Gabona so hard that the monster collapsed, unconscious. Then Ultraman picked Gabona up, soared into the sky, and vanished once more into outer space. The scientific team stood in shocked awe at Ultraman's display of bravery. But Asami wondered how Ultraman had known not to use his plasma beam against Gabona. Some days later, we see that Ultraman has become a hero to the entire world, defending humanity against rampaging kaijus. But then, one day, all the computers and electronic devices in the special team office suddenly shut down. That's when an alien named Zara appeared out of nowhere. He introduced himself as Alien Number 2. Zara claimed that he had arrived on Earth simply to engage in conversation. In fact, when he landed, a powerful electromagnetic field had formed around him, causing all the electronic devices to malfunction temporarily. Having made his presence known, Zara used his mind power to switch the computers and devices back on. He announced that he wished to meet the Prime Minister and discuss the relationship between humans and aliens, as well as their shared future. Over time, Zara managed to win people's trust, but some of the special agents suspected that if a conflict ever arose, Zara could become a serious threat. After all, with his abilities, he could potentially hack any government's database, stealing confidential information and selling it to enemies. Meanwhile, we see Kaminaga in a car with his partner, sharing the same doubts. Kaminaga insisted that Zara was simply pretending to be everyone's ally to fool them. Later, when Kaminaga was alone in the car, Zara abruptly appeared before him, revealing his ominous plan. He declared that humans needed to be eradicated because they could become a danger to other races. Zara said that humans couldn't be trusted. They were always fighting among themselves, and their population continued to grow at an alarming rate. Hearing this, Kaminaga said he would never let Zara get away with such a scheme, but Zara retorted that even Ultraman couldn't stop him. At that point, it became clear that Zara knew Kaminaga's secret, that Kaminaga was the one turning into Ultraman to save everyone. Zara knocked Kaminaga unconscious and took him captive. 3 days passed after this incident, and the secret department was still searching for Kaminaga. The agents dug up some photographs and videos to track him down. Among them, they uncovered footage that shocked everyone. In the video, Kaminaga pressed a button on some device and instantly transformed into Ultraman. With that, the entire department realized Kaminaga's true identity, that he was Ultraman all along. Right at that moment, news spread that Ultraman was rampaging through a city, causing destruction. Nobody could comprehend why Ultraman, who had protected them from kaijus, would suddenly start tearing the city apart. In any case, the government concluded that Ultraman was never humanity's defender. In fact, all the ministers now believed everything Zara had told them. Meanwhile, Asami received a mysterious package that had apparently been sent by Kaminaga. Inside was that same device he used to transform into Ultraman. Asami met with Kaminaga's former partner, and the two of them brought this device before the defense team to explain the situation. Afterward, Asami and Kaminaga's old partner set off for the place where Ultraman was being held captive. Around this time, Captain Tamura and his team advised the military not to attack Ultraman yet. Soon, Asami arrived at the site where Kaminaga was imprisoned. She asked him why he had lied to everyone about his true nature. Kaminaga replied, "I never actually lied. I simply stayed quiet and kept my truth hidden." Eventually, Asami freed him and returned his transformation device. But at that very moment, the fake Ultraman struck, taking Asami hostage. Immediately, Kaminaga transformed into the real Ultraman, letting everyone see with their own eyes that he was the genuine one. With a tremendous blow, he flung the fake Ultraman far away, rescuing Asami and placing her somewhere safe. This led to a new fierce battle between the fake Ultraman and the real Ultraman. The genuine Ultraman unleashed his plasma beam with ferocious intensity, blasting the fake Ultraman high into the air. That imposter reverted to his true form, revealing himself to be Zara all along. Now both of them ascended into the sky, launching devastating attacks at each other. Ultraman fired his mighty plasma beam directly at Zara and then hurled an energy disc, slicing Zara's body in two and killing him on the spot. At last, after claiming victory, Ultraman flew away again, and no one knew where he went. The next day, the Japanese government turned against Agent Kami Naga because his true identity had been exposed to the entire world. But both Ultraman and Asami had disappeared, and no one had any clue where they had gone. A search operation was carried out for several days until, one day, the Special Defense Team received a tip that Asami had been sighted in the middle of the city. The whole team rushed to save her, but to their shock, they found that Asami had grown into a 40-foot-tall giant. They tried speaking to Asami, but they quickly realized she was under someone's control. Suddenly, Asami punched a building, causing chaos all around. Everyone believed an attack was imminent. Right then, a mysterious voice echoed down from the sky, saying something about the technology Ultraman used not being solely his own. The moment the voice fell silent, Asami suddenly toppled over, unconscious. The police sealed off the entire area, awaiting further instructions from the government. At this point, the special agents were desperately trying to figure out how Asami had grown so huge and who that mysterious voice belonged to. They pondered how they might return Agent Asami to her normal form. Just then, a figure quietly entered the room and introduced himself as Mephiles No. 0. He claimed to have arrived on Earth, following Ultraman's tracks. Mephiles explained that he was indeed the one behind the strange voice they had heard earlier. Finally, he revealed that he had come with good intentions, seeking a friendly relationship with humanity. He took everyone to the place where the giant Asami lay unconscious. Waving his hand in the air, he summoned a device from the sky known as the Beta Box, which resembled a smaller device that he personally owned. Then, pressing a button, Mephiles caused Asami to revert to her original size. That night, Mephiles held a meeting with Japanese leaders, stating that he wanted to offer them several Beta Boxes for their use. In return, he demanded a high-ranking position in the government. He also promised not to interfere in human laws, insisting that he merely wished to form a strong bond of friendship between aliens and humans. The following day, we see that Asami was seething with anger because, while in her giant form, many people had snapped weird photos of her and shared them on the internet. She told her teammates that she was furious with Mephiles for changing her size without her permission. At that moment, a message flashed across her computer screen. Using his powers, Mephiles had erased all the embarrassing photos from the internet. Next, we see Mephiles discussing the future of humanity. Yet Kami Naga believed that handing over Beta Boxes to humans could turn out to be a grave mistake, as it would curb humanity's own development in the long run. Before the conversation could progress further, some police officers arrived to confront Ultraman and Mephiles. However, even before the police could act, Mephiles teleported himself and Ultraman away, using his powers. We then see the two of them sitting in a restaurant talking. Mephiles had already made a deal to provide the government with Beta Boxes, which would soon enable humans to create biological weapons. Afterward, Mephiles called Asami, asking to meet at a safe location. Within a few hours, the entire Special Defense Team gathered at a train station. Kami Naga apologized to everyone, then asked for their help so the next phase of his plan could begin. Kami Naga explained that these Beta Boxes don't exist on Earth, but are located in another dimension of outer space. The team members replied that they could only get there through someone who had once used a Beta Box, and that meant Asami was their sole link. Ultraman drew close to Asami and sniffed her, so to speak, picking up the trail that would guide him to the dimension where the Beta Boxes were stored. The next day, Mephiles was on the verge of fulfilling his plan, handing over the Beta Boxes to humans. But at that very moment, Ultraman swooped in unexpectedly and grabbed the Beta Box, passing it to his teammates in an aircraft overhead. Realizing the deal was falling apart, Mephiles insisted he would retrieve the Beta Box and complete his arrangement with humanity, but he abruptly revealed his true alien appearance. Activating his device, he morphed into a massive monster. Soon, Ultraman and Mephiles faced off in an electrical power station area. Both exchanged powerful plasma beam attacks. The collision of these beams sparked a massive explosion. Mephiles, however, appeared to be more powerful. Thinking victory was at hand, he pressed toward Ultraman to finish him off, but at that moment another alien showed up on the scene. Seeing this newly arrived alien, Mephiles conceded defeat, picked up his Beta Box, and immediately fled Earth. Finally, we return to the very forest where Naranga had first attacked. Kaminaga arrived there and approached his own body. We discover that on that day, when Kaminaga was saving the child from Naranga's assault, he was actually killed. And from that moment onward, Ultraman had taken Kaminaga's shape to live among humans. His real name was Li Pei. Suddenly, another mysterious alien emerged from behind the trees, the one whose presence had sent Mephiles running. This alien was called Jaffe. Jaffe had come to Earth because Li Pei, disguised as a human, was violating the laws set by their alien civilization. Moreover, humans had found out about the Beta Box, and they had begun to comprehend just how far behind they truly were in terms of scientific advancement. With progress, they could eventually become just as advanced as these aliens. But Jaffe had decided that he would rather wipe out the entire Earth before humanity ever achieved that level of knowledge. Thus, Jaffe released the most dangerous weapon imaginable, called Zeton, into the sky to destroy Earth. This device would emit a devastating energy that would consume the entire planet. As soon as appeared in the atmosphere, everyone on Earth could see it. But the government chose not to disclose its true nature to the public. Kaminaga confronted Jaffe, vowing to fight to his last breath to protect Earth and its people. He rushed back to his special team, explaining that Zeton was powerful enough not just to annihilate the Earth, but to destroy the entire galaxy. Shocked, his teammates concluded that only Ultraman could save Earth from Zeton. Captain Tamura and Asami encouraged Kaminaga, boosting his courage for what would be the most difficult mission of his life. Kaminaga transformed into Ultraman and set off toward outer space. As soon as he approached Zeton, he unleashed his full power in a plasma beam attack, but it had no effect. Next, he hurled his energy disk at it, yet again no avail. After these assaults, Zeton's defense system activated, launching monstrous counterattacks against Ultraman. Unable to withstand the relentless barrage of terrifying strikes, Ultraman plummeted back to Earth, badly wounded. When the Japanese government realized that even Ultraman couldn't destroy Zeton, everyone felt certain the end of the world was near. A few days went by. Kaminaga lay in a hospital, undergoing treatment. Ordinary people continued their daily lives, unaware that a colossal threat loomed over Earth. The rest of the team searched desperately for a way to take down Zeton. Then Funiberi suddenly remembered that Kaminaga had left behind a flash drive before heading into space. From this drive, they obtained all the information about beta power and how it might be used. The duo formulated a plan to cause an explosion inside Zeton using beta power. Before long, Kaminaga regained consciousness, and his teammates explained their entire plan to save Earth. At this point, they had already integrated beta power into his transformation device. Using it, he could collide two cosmic energies and neutralize their effects, but the mission was fraught with danger. The colossal blast could potentially trap Ultraman in another dimension, somewhere in the universe. Nevertheless, Kaminaga resolved to carry out this operation for the sake of humanity's survival. He soared towards Zeton. Just moments before the destructive surge was unleashed, Ultraman fired cosmic energy at Zeton, causing both energies to slam into each other. The resulting explosion was so overwhelming, it depleted both energies' power. But the blast produced a black hole in outer space, into which Ultraman fell, spiraling away into a different dimension. Within this new dimension, Ultraman encountered Jaffe once more. Ultraman, whose real name was Li Pei, spoke of his experiences on Earth. Jaffe, moved by what he heard of human intelligence and technology, ultimately decided not to destroy Earth after all. In the end, Li Pei made one final request of Jaffe. He wanted to sacrifice himself so Kaminaga could return to life on Earth. Jaffe agreed, employing a device to separate Kaminaga's body from Ultraman. On that day, Kaminaga opened his eyes on Earth, and his team rejoiced at seeing him alive again. After all, he had managed to save the planet from destruction. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. See you in the next one.